This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
Views expressed on the following program do not necessarily pose those of WPSL. However, we do encourage you to like and share them on social media. Yes, and please do, because it's time for Nutrition World in downtown Fort Pierce. Joanne's Nutrition World presents Joanne's World of Nutrition every Thursday morning at this time with your host, Joanne Seeger.
Awesome. Welcome, everyone. We are doing great today here. I hope all my listeners are as well. If I have any newbies listening in, welcome to the show. I really appreciate everyone's time and energy going to the show this morning. We have a really, really special guest today. I guess all my guests are special, but this one took the time and energy to come inside the studio with me. So let's welcome Jme. Jme, good morning, honey. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Yeah. This is very special. I mean, we'll get you all hooked up with your headset and all that good stuff so you can hear me. Don't you worry. Just, okay. Yeah. So, but you can just put one ear off. Yeah, so this is great. Usually we have to do Zoom calls, and all that, formality stuff, but it's so nice to have you here with me. And if anyone, oh, good, you can hear me now. Yay. See, all the studio stuff, but yes, Cliff is #1 studio engineer, yes. All right, so guests, listeners, we definitely want to encourage you. You might need pen and paper again for this guest as well, because she has a wealth of information. And I'm going to tell you the topic, but before you turn off your radio, okay, hear me out. It's about mushrooms, but this is different than you saying, I don't want mushrooms on my salad or mushrooms in my soup because I don't like them. These mushrooms are magical, medicinal. These are the types that you can throw in smoothies, shakes, and any way you can do it. So definitely listen in and learn the magic of mushrooms on the show today. But we have to do our breath work first. Okay, so new listeners, we are going to exhale out our drama, negativity, stress, anything that doesn't feel right in the body, and we're going to breathe in all positivity, calmness, and patience. And so, Jme, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. So let's exhale out all the drama, and let's do 3 rounds.
3 rounds? Okay.
Yep, and we'll do 5, 5, 5, okay? All right, so everyone, just use your nose for this one, okay, everyone? Let's not use our mouth. We're going to breathe in for 5, hold for 5, and exhale for 5, okay? Let's do 3 rounds. All right, everyone, exhale out the drama.
Exhale it all out, and begin. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5. Release. 2, 3, 4, 5. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5. Release. 2, 3, 4, 5. One more time. 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5. Release. 2, 3, 4, 5.
Thank you, sir.
Feel better
Doesn't
now?
that feel good?
Feels amazing.
Now, Jme, can you tell our listeners why I would invite you in studio to discuss your company and all the magical things you have?
Well, because mushrooms are amazing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, I know you talk about a lot of nutritional benefits and why we want to take care of our bodies and heal. Mushrooms are truly a therapeutic superfood. I mean, the way we heal in general is by nutrition, water, doing breathing, all of that is how we can be healthy. And so it just makes sense as, you're on this path of having, a longer life and taking care of yourself, that you're going to put things in your body that are going to help you maintain that. And food, again, is number one. I don't know how much, of your listeners know about medicinal mushrooms, but they are truly more more connected to us, even in genetic DNA, than plants are. When we eat mushrooms, and I'm talking about medicinal mushrooms, I mean great culinary mushrooms too are high in vitamins and minerals, and you always should eat mushrooms as long as you cook them. Don't eat them raw. But when we eat these mushrooms and put them in our system, they really assimilate, and they go in there, they detoxify, they restore, they balance our body the way that we need to be healthy, because again, we are already so connected, and it's just the best way to use these as a therapeutic superfood.
That's a great heading for it. And I know that you have a lot of experience not only working with one of the most famous formulators for mushrooms, but you had a personal experience, I will call a healing crisis, that really made you take notice to the mushroom. You want to tell our listeners that? Because a lot of people might be able to relate to that story.
Yeah, so I usually don't talk much about my health in the past, but but we're going to today. So when I first got introduced to mushrooms, I mean, I've always been a pretty healthy person, growing up in tribal beliefs with my grandmother. So we would, grow our own food, make our own medicine. It was really important what you put in your body and the environment. But as I got older, it was weird because I got diagnosed with Crohn's colitis. And when I asked my GI, I was like, how do I even have this? I mean, none of my family had it. And the answer was it's environmental, which made no sense to me. However, the condition got worse. I got to be about 80 to 90 pounds. I was bleeding rectally, and not to gross anyone out, I was bleeding rectally for 4 months. They wanted to do what was called a J pouch, where they would remove my colon and rebuild it. At that point, I was like, absolutely not. I could not absorb any food I was eating. The running joke is I had a tapeworm because I could eat so much but not gain anything. And I was really sick all the time. And so a good friend of mine that now actually is one of my brokers with my company, she asked me if I ever heard of Chaga. And at the time I was like, no, what is Chaga? Like, okay.
Is it an engine part?
Yeah, I was like, okay. So I dove into it, got, more familiar with it. I started making my own medicine, which again, Chaga is a mushroom, and I can go into the mushroom after. But I got into it. I started buying it in bulk, raw material. I was cooking it down in teas. I was being super aggressive with it. Within the first 6 months of consuming Chaga, my body started shifting. I wasn't bleeding as much. I was starting to feel better. Nutritional wise, I was gaining more weight. It was just a night and day difference. However, it took me a year to fully go into full remission, and that was over 6 years ago. And then when I saw my GI, she was just blown away because, of course, they go to colonoscopies and I've had probably over 30 in my lifetime. And she was just shocked. She could not believe the inflammation and how everything was so much better in my system. And the funny thing is I don't even take Chaga anymore. I take other mushrooms. But it really truly healed me. And so that was kind of like my gateway into the mushroom world on the medicinal side. And what was even crazier, I'm big on science and research, and if you go to PubMed, you can find a lot of this information out. But when I was starting to take Chaga, all of the research that, was around Chaga was for inflammation, Crohn's, colitis, leaky gut, all of that. So I feel like my body was already connecting to this mushroom, and I knew I needed to take it. So that was pretty much my pathway with my health. And then
that's an incredible story. When I was very young, I was ill, and that's how at 15 I turned to nutrition. So we have a little similar story. And I wanted you to mention the story because I know many of my listeners, when they get to that point where their health seems like it's at a, gosh forbid, an end point, or just it's such a serious level that there's no way that something like a mushroom could help, it is important to notice, and I know you're stressing how much you did and how long you did. And that's important because sometimes we're set up in this society where let's buy one package or, and then do it, daily and then think it's all going to be fixed in 30 days or less. So we definitely have to be patient with our body. As long as we give it the right tools, we can heal ourselves. We just have to be super patient.
No, I agree. And that's the thing, is we live in a society where it's like this instant gratification because we have these sources of when you get a fever, you can take a medication to help with your fever. I mean, you get a headache, you take a medicine for a headache. And so we live in a society that everything's been such as instant gratification, and that is truly not how the body works. I mean, everybody has different sensitivity levels. Some people might feel healing faster than others, the effects faster than others. But when we're using nutrition and natural medicine, it isn't going to happen overnight. But the cool thing about it is it's going to happen correctly, the right way, and really balance your body, where now, again, I don't even use chaga. It helped me heal. And of course, I use some of our other mushrooms because I use it now as a preventative. But I mean, you don't have to take certain things for the rest of your life if you can heal your body. And then at that point, you use food and nutrition in order as a preventative as you age.
That's awesome. Now, and what's so important about her just making that statement is that she owns an amazing mushroom company called WHOLESUN. And so for an owner of a company to say that, it really is important. She's not trying to push anything on anyone. She's trying to teach you how to listen to your body and know when it's right to use certain things. And the world of mushrooms is a mystery to most of us, Jme. So you started WHOLESUN, and I know as far as making sure that you're going to the farms themselves, making sure that impeccable. I want you to cover, because maybe some of these people are like, wait, where are they coming from though? Are they poisonous? Are they, so can you tell the story about when you started WHOLESUN and how you are impeccable about choosing your mushrooms and the quality?
Yes. So my company started about 3 years ago. I definitely did not have a degree in business. I just loved mushrooms. And I was
totally relate.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, well, I guess I'm going to start my own mushroom company. And the reason why I did it is just not just with my personal healing experience, but the more I was diving into mycology, the more I was like, wow, this is what I need to be doing. When I started my company, I was wanting to truly be able to focus on providing a whole mushroom that was grown exactly like it would be grown in nature. About 90% of what's on the market here in the U.S. is the root system. It's called mycelium. Mycelium is not a mushroom. It is an amazing root system that does bring in nutrients to produce the whole fruiting body, as we call it. And so I wanted to really focus on the fruiting body and not the mycelium. And I also wanted to make sure that they were being grown correctly. So, of course, when I first started, I had what we call a middleman. I was sourcing from a company overseas, and I was like, within 3 months, I wasn't happy. I didn't know where things were coming from. The consistency, the testing wasn't matching up. So I decided to start my own venture and hook up with farmers all over the globe, plus now here in the U.S., and built these relationships so it truly was like a farm to shelf situation. And that's how we still are. So anyways, with all these relationships with these farms, I was able to work with the farmers, see how the mushrooms were being grown, making sure that the process was being done correctly, that they were grown on their natural substrates. It is really important that mushrooms, when you consume them, that they're grown on what they're supposed to be grown on in nature. And I'm going to go back to the chaga really quick. Because, and this is a perfect example, as I tell people, when you're eating food, you eat food to break it down, to feel good, adrenal, thyroid, nutrition. That's what makes our bodies thrive. Well, mushrooms are the same way. Chaga, for example, you can't cultivate chaga. You can only wildcraft it because it is a parasite, which sounds weird. It's not a parasite that's going to affect you, but to the birch tree it is, because what it does is it latches onto the birch tree, and then over the next 5 to 30 plus years or more, it slowly kills that birch tree because that's how it gets all of its nutrients. It feeds off the birch tree. And so these mushrooms, but that's how we get those important compounds that healed me as a superfood. So these mushrooms have to be grown on where they feed to get their nutrition from their grow substrate, and also to give us those active compounds that we're looking that are therapeutic. So that kind of launched my whole mission, is making sure our farms, greenhouses, everything, were holding up to that standards, that we were growing on the exact same substrate that they would grow in nature. And then in that way, when we process them, we were getting all those high amounts of natural occurring compounds, plus all the vitamins and nutrients and everything that are important. So that's how we do it now. Over the last year and a half, I decided I wanted to bring everything back to North America. My company started and is continuing to do this. We started the largest medicinal mushroom farming manufacturing operation in North America.
That is so awesome.
I thought this was going to take maybe 5-10 years. It's only been a year and a half. And the really nice thing is that we're co-oping, in a sense, with all these amazing farmers here in the U.S. that want to have a different kind of sustainability than what they're farming now, that is going to be also it's like a feel-good thing. They feel like they're healing people. They're providing, this nutritional food that is across the board.
You mean not glyphosate-filled broccoli?
Yeah, exactly. And so that's kind of how everything all started with, my company just starting out wanting to offer something different than what was on the market. And another thing too, I want to go back to our growing. Most of our mushrooms, we can't mass produce them. They take a very long time. I always go back to reishi. Reishi is such a beautiful mushroom. It takes 12 months to grow full cycle.
Wow.
Yeah, so these cannot be mass produced, where mycelium, on the other hand, grows faster than weeds. I mean,
that's why all the other companies are using that. That makes sense. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, and I always tell people, you look at, I know the apple tree might be a weird thing to quote, but, the root system of an apple tree, it brings in the nutrients to produce this amazing fruit. The apple, that's going to have sugars, nutrients, and all that. You're not going to kick down the tree and only eat the roots. You want that fruit. It's the same thing with mushrooms. All of the major active compounds are in the whole mushroom, but they are very special things. You have to let them grow the correct way, and it does take a lot longer. So when you're into like mass produce, sometimes it's not sustainable
so
because
Jme,
it does take longer.
Let me interrupt, because I want to make sure that my listeners have this right. So the mycelium is the root system.
Yes.
And so because it grows so fast, so if they identify that, okay, this is the root of reishi, they literally, as the root grows, they pull it out, and then another one will come real quick, like the weeds on our grass?
No. So
help us understand for newbies.
Okay, so mycelium, whenever you inoculate a substrate, and substrate, I should just say logs. Well, in the industry, most companies don't grow mycelium on logs. They do what's called oats or brown rice. And so what they do is they inoculate the oats or the brown rice with the culture, which is the mycelium. The mycelium is meant to cover it all, and then eventually you're going to start getting the fruiting bodies to form. They don't even go that far. They just inoculate the rice or the oats, whatever they're growing on. They cover it up really quick because it grows super fast, and then they freeze dry it, and then they put it out in the industry.
Okay.
So as mycelium itself, with our products, since we inoculate logs, the mycelium is growing through our logs, and then it slowly forms the fruiting body, and that's how we produce our fruiting bodies. And it just takes a long time because it is the root system. So if we were only focusing on the root system, it would be easier to mass produce, but it's not effective because the mycelium does not even hold many of the active compounds that are therapeutic that you need in order to get the benefits from these mushrooms.
Right, and that's where a lot of times we lose, we cite these studies about different supplements based on, say 50, 100 years ago. Well, it did this in this tribe or this in this civilization, but yet they weren't growing it on some brown rice or some oats, They were using it in its natural habitat. So I love that you've circled back to really make sure that not only it's great that you're doing it in our hometown, but, just really helping the mushrooms be back to what they were meant to be.
Yeah, because they're amazing. They're just these amazing superfoods.
I know, right? And so I don't remember the last time you were on the show, but I would say at least 3 months. And I've been using the mushrooms every morning since in our shakes. We love having a morning shake. We, in and out the door, right? But I think at this point I've tried every blend. So what made you decide which now again, I don't know much about mushrooms, so you're definitely teaching me as well. So what made you pick the ones that are in these blends? Can you explain like how you came up with the deep immune health? We have the digestive one at home and the energy.
The real energy.
The energy. So like I love the names and I'm just trusting you because you're amazing. So yeah, and I feel great. And I love every time I do that tiny, tiny little serving. I mean, it's so hard to measure that tiny serving. It's like, wow, that's all I need for this superfood.
You don't need much. Yeah.
So how did you come up? All these, I mean, you go in all these box stores and they have capsules of all these different mushroom blends, and I see them clearanced out, and I'm kind of glad because I don't want people spending $3 thinking they're actually improving their health, you know, with maybe might be junk. So
if we could backtrack just a little bit on the difference before we go into the formulations, because when you talk about only taking a half teaspoon, like a small amount, or even a fourth teaspoon is a therapeutic amount, it's really important that listeners understand the difference between our process with our mushrooms and their potency compared to anything else out there that's, say, a mushroom fruiting body.
Perfect. Yeah.
Because that really makes a difference. So, we have what's, the mushroom fruiting body, and there's a lot on the industry. What they do is just they dry the mushroom, grind it up, and that's the mushroom powder. We are not a mushroom powder. We are a mushroom powder extract company. You cannot get any of these therapeutic benefits from just drying the mushroom and putting it in a powder or a capsule. Mushrooms have to be heated. They have to be broken down to pull out these, medicinal compounds, and also to make sure the beta-D-glucans that are in the mushrooms are bioavailable in your body, because they're very high. Like the mushroom itself is very fibrous because of the chitin, and our body cannot absorb that correctly. So because of the way we process our mushrooms and break them down through heat extraction, we're pulling out all the medicinal compounds. That gives it a very therapeutic amount, just taking a fourth of a teaspoon, and that's why they're so effective, and you don't need a lot. So I just wanted to hurry and talk about that really quick.
No, that's super important.
Yeah, because
like I said, you're the expert. You can interject anything. So perfect timing, Jme. We are going to take a break, but please stay tuned. Jme from WHOLESUN Wellness is going to dive into what each mushroom does and what might be well suited for you. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hey, it's Dr. Ravi at Tradition Family Chiropractic. We are dedicated to serving you and your family with integrity, compassion, and innovative care through the most advanced chiropractic care ever in chiropractic history, encouraging your health and your family's health to its maximum potential on a regular basis. Call us today at 772-345-0060 or schedule online at traditionhealth.com for your free consultation.
Hi, this is Joanne from Nutrition World, hoping that you visit my store and wellness center. We have incorporated cutting-edge services to help you feel better. Check out my online store at joannesnutritionworld.com. Really great deals and free shipping over $50. I am really hoping that all my listeners are taking time right now to get fresh air, to get exercise into their daily routine, keep hydrated, and get the proper amount of sleep. It's critical right now that attitude is everything. To please take time to laugh, to give yourself a break. You can find Nutrition World right on US 1 in Fort Pierce, across from Fort Pierce City Hall, in between Orange Avenue and Avenue A. Our phone number is 772-464-3598. Call me with any questions or concerns. All my best, Joanne.
Joanne's Nutrition World, now open from 10 to 4, Monday through Saturday. Call 464-3598.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
We now return to Joanne's World of Nutrition. Once again, here's Joanne Seeger.
Hey everyone, thank you for spending some time with us this morning. My guest today is Jme with WHOLESUN Wellness. She has an amazing website that is great. If you want to learn about mushrooms, this is the website to go to. Whole, W-H-O-L-E, Sun Wellness, all one word.com. Definitely check that out. And they have also offered a handful of lucky listeners. If you go in the store today, we have Lion's Mane, a free sample. It's a 15-day sample, which is very generous. So thank you, Jme. So please come in the store. All her products are always 10% off at the store. And we would love to see you, love to have a conversation with you about mushrooms. And again, this Lion's Mane, probably for my store at least, super popular. Everyone's talking about Lion's Mane. And so now Jme's going to, for the second half of the show, cover what each individual mushroom does, and then hopefully we'll have time to talk about the blends. But remember, guys, it's a live call-in show. So if you have a question for Jme, she'd love to help you out. And if it applies to mushrooms, this is the time to call, okay? Any other nutrition questions? We'll do it at the store. So you can call us at 464-3598. All right, Jme. So Chaga. So yeah, everyone's probably still kind of hanging on the beginning story, like, wow, Chaga did that. Yeah. So let's talk about Chaga.
So, and I mean, again, on the website, we really try to educate quite a bit. So that's a good place to also hyperlink to the studies. If you're all about science and clinical research, that's a good place too.
Very cool.
So Chaga, of course, is a great mushroom because it helps with digestive health, inflammation, gut lining. Of course, aids in the inflammation, supports healthy gut flora, helps with healthy weight management as well. It's also great for blood sugar. I mean, we could list, but when you think of Chaga, really think about your gut health, because it really overall is the best mushroom for any digestive issue. Another thing that Chaga is great for is skin, anti-aging, acne, eczema, psoriasis, emphysema, what's that? Is that what it is? What skin? Eczema. Yeah, I'm thinking lungs.
I do that all the time. It's
wait a minute,
same,
no, that's lungs.
Same first letter. Shouldn't that count? Well, I feel like you're talking to me a little bit about as you go through that list, Jme. I got to be honest, but I know that pretty much almost everyone can identify with at least one thing on that list.
Yeah. And Chaga is a great immune mushroom. It does help with energy and endurance. Most of these mushrooms are going to give you energy and endurance. There is one that won't, and we'll go over that one as well. But Chaga overall is a good intro mushroom. Everybody needs gut support, so it's a good one. Cordyceps, we're going to move on to Cordyceps. Okay. This is one of my favorite mushrooms, and this is a man's mushroom too.
Ooh, all right. I hope all the men are listening.
Yeah, I mean, it's great for women. Don't get me wrong. Women are going to benefit from it hormonally, infertility, both in men and women, energy support. But the reason why I say cater it to men, because men also have hormonal issues. And so it's great to have something that's going to balance out as well. So it helps with testosterone, libido, energy, stamina, endurance. It's one of these mushrooms that's a get up and go. So if you're fatigued, tired all the time, it's going to help with your energy levels, cardiovascular. It's great for athletic performance, chronic muscle fatigue. I mean, the list goes on. This mushroom is an amazing mushroom. You would definitely not take this ever in the evening, unless you wanted to stay up all night. It is truly a natural stimulant, so it does get you up and going.
Now with Cordyceps, Jme, I definitely have a lot of people I know that, even my 18-year-old son, that are constantly wanting to drive that energy further and further, and a lot of them are using things with side effects, the Red Bulls, the Monster energy drinks, caffeine pills, God forbid, or just, gallons of coffee. So the Cordyceps, is it like a safe way to stimulate the energy system?
Yes.
So no side effects, worrying about their adrenal system?
No, and that's a great thing about mushrooms. Again, they're never over going to rev your body or under. It's a perfect balance. It's going to work with your system. They really, connect to your system, not someone else's, to your system. They all are different, but it's your body. And so a best way to explain it is when the mushrooms go in, whatever your system is flowing or unbalanced or things like that, it's going to just help you maintain, and it's going to work the systems that need the most working, if that makes sense.
That makes total sense.
Yeah. So with Cordyceps, somebody that might be pretty sensitive, they might get a little more like, woo, I feel like I'm jumping off the walls. And then at that point, yes, you'd want to take less of the mushroom. You have to gauge it, but it's not going to build you up to the point where all of a sudden you're crashing, you're getting shaky, you're feeling like that high and low. That is not what mushrooms do. Cordyceps has been used for a very long time, for centuries, for a cure-all tonic, but really in athletic performance it's been used a lot. Respiratory, it helps with intake of oxygen. So people that are doing high altitude hiking or anything, or just respiratory issues alone, breathing. So yeah,
that sounds awesome. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, the Cordyceps does a lot for our bodies, but it won't give you a Red Bull effect or a caffeine effect. That is not what these mushrooms do. And again, it's coming from food, so it's a different kind of feeling. I feel most people, when they take it, they feel alive. I don't even know how else to explain it. Maybe that's not a good word, but they feel good.
Yeah, exactly. And I know you're going to talk about this towards the end of the hour, but with the energy blend, I know per serving each day, it's cheaper than buying one of those energy drinks.
Yes.
I mean, so I will put that out there. Some people are like, oh, but supplements are so much. I'm like,
no.
Are you kidding me? My son bought one case and it was like $3.40 each can. I'm like, this is crazy. This is a lot less expensive and no harm.
Yes, exactly.
And it doesn't harm the environment, too.
No.
There we go.
Not at all. I will move on because I know we don't have much time, so I'm going to talk really fast about some of these mushrooms.
You're doing fine. You're good.
Because I can get sidetracked sometimes, especially when I'm educating on the mushrooms. Lion's mane, everybody knows lion's mane as brain support. That's what it became popular here in the U.S. It does help with overall mental clarity. It helps with acuity, focusing, lifting your spirits, blood flow. It also helps with digestive issues. It does help reduce, reduction of inflammation. One thing that lion's mane got popular for back in the late 90s with nerve growth factor. So it helps stimulate nerves. So neuropathy. It is an overall good mushroom to take. It is not the #1 brain mushroom. And I've been educating on this a lot lately because here in the U.S. it's known as like the woohoo, the #1 brain. And it will help. It's a stimulant. So it does get your brain awake. But it isn't the #1, but it is a phenomenal one to take. I will let you know the #1.
I was going to say, all the listeners like, wait, I thought it was the #1.
No, but that's the thing is...
It's super popular.
It is.
And let me remind the listeners that we are here at the store, well, at 11:10, we'll have at the store some lion's mane samples.
Yeah, it's
so
good.
definitely come in for those free samples.
And trust me, lion's mane is one of my favorite mushrooms. That's why I just put it in the deep brain product I launched last year. It is a phenomenal mushroom. You're going to get benefits from it. I just always throw that out there because there's some amazing mushrooms.
So, Jme, I want to say one more thing. Don't worry, we'll have lots of time. The lion's mane why do they call it that? Because there was one customer, now grant you, he was like 78 years old, and he's like, did they get it from the lion's mane?
Yeah, I've heard that
And
too.
I started giggling, but I was like, hey, they don't know. I mean, you know, people do weird things to animals. So, all right. So this is just because how it looks?
Yes, it's how it looks. But it does look like a mane of a lion. However, it also looks like a brain, the human brain. And which I think is really cool about that is because lion's mane is for brain health, and it looks like a brain, but it also looks like a mane.
Yeah, they say that in nature that sometimes there's a strong connection.
Cordyceps looks like a male's the way it grows. So
okay. I'm glad that you didn't bring that to display on the desk today.
Oh, we did.
That's it. Oh, we won't talk about the size.
We
that will be another show.
Okay, so moving on to Mataki. Mataki is one of the strongest immune fighting mushrooms. You know, everyone always says Reishi and stuff, which Reishi is in that category, but Shiitake and Mataki are the strongest immune mushrooms. Mataki is really good for supporting, you know, our metabolism. It's great for weight loss, balancing your body in that sense. It also helps with the blood sugar levels naturally, helps with glucose levels. However, if someone is taking, they're type 2 diabetic and they're taking a sugar medication to lower, they cannot take Mataki unless their doctor aids them to switch off the pill to something natural,
which would be great to have that relationship with your doctor to have that in mind.
Yes,
awesome.
And it naturally, I mean, they could just drop too low. So Mataki is also great for cholesterol levels and issues like that. It stimulates again the immune system. I also love Mataki for women after they've had a child because it helps with lactation.
Oh, cool.
It is the only mushroom that's going to do that. It also helps with infertility in women. Not so much in men, but in women it does help with infertility and hormonal balancing and stuff. Men, it would be more the cordyceps. Moving on to the reishi, which I wish the listeners could see our beautiful reishi that we brought. It
is so beautiful.
Yeah,
so beautiful.
It's just magical. So reishi is the calming mushroom in medicine. I look at like cordyceps as the brother, reishi the sister. It's like hot and cold. Reishi is truly a calming mushroom. It is the only mushroom that helps with insomnia. The only mushroom. In a case study they did with natural things, reishi was number one in helping with insomnia patients. It helps balance cortisol levels, stress, fatigue, overworked as women and men. It helps liver detoxification. It is amazing for the respiratory, people that have asthma, all of that. It's going to help. It's a natural prednisone. It's like a natural steroid without the nasty side effects, which, by the way, everything I'm quoting comes from clinical research on PubMed. So this is all information that your listeners can look up. You can type in cinnamon and it's going to tell you all the research off of cinnamon. It's a great resource. But overall, this is a great mushroom for someone that just wants to have that, not deal with stress as much and fatigue and all of that, and the calming and respiratory, blood, heart health.
I'm ready to add it to my water right now, Jme. So yeah, I don't know. And each one, I know I have the blends at home, so I'm not so worried because I know you're going to say, well, that was in this and this. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, man, I want to just live on reishi now.
Yeah, it's a great mushroom. And it's a great detoxifying mushroom for our bodies. All mushrooms are going to detoxify you, but there are some that do better than others, and reishi would be one of those.
Very cool.
Shiitake is my favorite mushroom.
I love eating it.
Yeah, it tastes so good.
Oh my God, grilled, it's so good.
It's so good. You would have to eat a lot of shiitake to equal what we have in a bag. We probably have about 300 pounds of dried mushrooms in one bag that's converted down to an extract.
I eat that every day.
Just eat that every day.
Every day, yeah. I think they put 2 in my soup, know? Oh, man.
But shiitake is overall the only mushroom that works every single system in our body. No other mushroom does this. It is the only mushroom that does, brain tissue regrowth, acuity, focusing, everything. This is your number one brain mushroom out of all of them. This would be your number one. And let me explain why.
Okay.
It doesn't do nerve growth factor like lion's mane and tremella, which is in the deep brain formula. However, shiitake, as we age, we can't absorb nutrients correctly in our brain, especially B vitamins like B12, B6, folate, and all of that. So as we age, we're not able to absorb that through our food. Even taking supplements, you're not absorbing that correctly. Well, what shiitake does, it keeps that absorption in your brain of those vitamins because it's so high in B vitamins and how it, flows through the brain in a sense. That's how, as we age, we're able to keep those nutrients in our brain. So it helps with memory loss, all of that. We age better by taking shiitake. It stimulates your brain, dopamine, serotonin, everything. To me, if you can take a mushroom that is truly effective through your whole body, why wouldn't you do it?
Exactly.
It's overall the best mushroom. It doesn't get a lot of attention, but I try to give it a lot of attention because it's my favorite.
Well, I'm definitely going to start giving it more attention, so I'm definitely guilty of the people that are not. I was on the lion's mane little bandwagon, but...
Lion's mane is great, though.
But
it's
Jme,
great.
you just said something so important you don't even probably know. So we have a Dr. Chris comes to our store 3 times a month, and he tests all my customers using some really cool, sophisticated bioscan machines. And most people are coming up where they're not methylating their B vitamins and absorbing them. And it's like, I've been working with him for a long time, and now it seems like almost everyone is not absorbing their B vitamins. And I did believe that it was because we're using such synthetic supplements. Everything is getting more and more removed from nature. And I'm trying to condense my store down to just really more superfoods and foods like this. So you just hit a really important topic for me because I was not aware of shiitake's role in that. So I am definitely going to start pushing shiitake because I could sell tons of B vitamins and people will come back, months later and be like, I don't know. I don't think it's working. And then, Chris's machine will say, it is not.
Yeah.
So we need to B vitamins are critical, everyone,
for
our body to just all the keys to each cell to help the energy production, the metabolism, hair growth. The list goes on and on. So
and that's the great thing about shiitake. Again, it is a food.
Yeah.
And these vitamins truly stay in your system, in your cells, in your body, everything. It is overall just an amazing mushroom. And it also, of course, tastes really good.
Yeah, I love the taste.
It is also, too, the highest in vitamin D.
Oh, which we know is very popular now and should be. It is a great one.
So this is overall it's from head to toe. This is going to be the best mushroom. If you have never tried a mushroom, I always recommend try shiitake first.
Beautiful.
Turkey tail is a great mushroom. It's also an immune mushroom. They recently did a study on turkey tail that it's better to take turkey tail than a probiotic.
I believe that.
Yeah. And again, it comes from food. It's going to help with your gut flora, aids in weight management, gastro functions, things like that. It's great during if you're in customer service, the flu season, all of that is going to protect you because it is a really good mushroom. And by the way, it's one of the most beautiful mushrooms. Just absolutely beautiful.
Super pretty.
They call it turkey tail because it really does look like this. I feel like it looks like a turkey tail, but it almost looks like coral. And sometimes it's blue, pink, red, orange.
Oh my God, that's
it's
beautiful.
Okay, we're going to talk about the blends.
Oh, good. Perfect timing.
Yeah.
Perfect timing. Okay.
So I am the formulator of all the blends. So we do all of our formulations in-house. Every blend I put together, there's a reason for it. It's, and it's a good intro to get people into the mushroom category. Because a lot of times when they see a product called turkey tail or chaga, they're like, why would I take this and what is this? But they do recognize brain health. energy, immune, digestive. So the Deep Brain product I put out about a year ago, I formulated this product to help people from full spectrum to someone that's struggling with concussions, like athletes, concussions, brain injuries, to PTSD, mental health, all of that. It's going to help someone focus. I mean, it's just going to help them, as well. It's going to help just a college student or somebody that just wants a good preventative to keep their brain healthy as they're aging. This is an amazing formula. There's amazing mushrooms in there like lion's mane, tremella, shiitake, poria, oysters, black fungus. Black fungus is a mushroom. It is not fungus. Yeah, and I
boy, what a bad choice in names.
Yeah, I chose to honor the mushroom's name and not change it. I'm big on honoring names. And this is truly what this mushroom is called. So we honor it because it is a very special mushroom. And all these mushrooms, by the way, are very high in B vitamins as well. So it's really going to, again, help the brain function a lot better. And this is safe for anybody on medication, too.
Okay, awesome.
Let's go back to reishi. If you're on a blood thinner, you cannot ever take reishi.
Okay.
That's the only contradiction with medication.
But I always say, how about doing the reishi instead of the blood thinner without the side effects?
Yeah, exactly.
What a thought. What a thought.
Exactly. Yeah, same with Mataki.
Yep.
The deep digestive health, I formulated that after my own health issues. Again, I hardly ever take chaga anymore. I focus more on like the real energy and other stuff because I'm on the go all the time. But the deep digestive blend has the chaga, reishi, and turkey tail in there. It's really going to help maintain your gut health. If you're starting to have severe gut issues, it's going to help. Constipation, bloating, all of that, bleeding, going to the bathroom all the time. I mean, I won't get too graphic, but overall, this is an amazing blend to maintenance your digestive system.
Okay, now a quick question, Jme. So there are a lot of people that more is better. Do you find that? No. So thank you for answering that. So
less is better of our products.
Okay,
because
awesome.
They're strong.
They're strong. That's
we
good.
always say less is better, and we also say, yes, we want you to support and use mushrooms, but I would never recommend somebody buying all my blends and trying to take them at once.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there are probably some listeners that are like, wow, yeah, let's do that.
No.
Okay. So just kind of like if everything you're mentioning is like relating to people, the immune, the digestive, all that. So should they rotate like one product and then another? Okay.
So, I feel like you need to pick a blend that is connected to what your health is at that moment. If you're trying to deal with digestive health and you want to do that, but then you also want to do a single mushroom, that's fine. But you really shouldn't be doing these blends together because then it takes away from the formulation, and you really want to make sure it's working. You're not able to tell what is helping you if you're taking multiple things at once. So it's just good to space it out. I mean, it's not going to hurt you. You're not going to get overloaded on mushrooms because, again, it's food. But I really want listeners and customers to truly get that experience of healing and to feel the magic that these mushrooms do for our bodies. So then, as they're progressing and healing, they can take other things,
That's what I love about you, not just trying to sell. So
no.
Super awesome.
The Deep Immune is an amazing mushroom. It truly is just a multivitamin of mushrooms. So when you go in and you need a multivitamin, this is the best multivitamin you can get because you're getting all of your vitamins, nutrients, minerals, protein. You do have fiber in there as well, but it's bioavailable fiber that's broken down. This overall is just a head-to-toe complex. Also, you get all the therapeutic benefits of all of our mushrooms in the bag. So this is a good one. And then we have the Real Energy product is the last one. This is my all-time favorite because I live most of my life in the outdoors and I'm very active. This is an overall good B vitamin complex, but it helps you get up and go. It's better than energy drinks.
Oh, yeah.
It's not going to crash you. It's going to help with your adrenals, thyroid, cardiovascular, stamina, everything. It's also great for hormonal levels in women as well as men, libido. This is overall, if you didn't know what to take, but everybody needs energy, this would be the best product to try because there is no such thing as instant gratification, but the combination of mushrooms in here, most of the feedback we get, people feel this pretty quickly. Leaving on that too, when you take these mushrooms, I always suggest take it every day until the bag is gone, and then I want you to stop taking them. I want you to stop for a week or so, because that's when you're really going to be able to notice how your body is feeling. Yep. Some people are sensitive and they are more in tune with their body. They're going to feel it quicker, but I always recommend take it and then stop for a week, because that's how you're really going to notice the difference it's making in your body.
We always do say that. Unfortunately, we feel that our customers feel illness responses faster than wellness responses. Yes. They remember when they don't feel good, but they forget when they're feeling good or normal, like healthy.
Well, one thing about mushrooms too, this is the biggest thing with a deep digest, and we get a lot of this feedback, is when people go in to heal their gut, they'll take our product and all of a sudden their stomach is hurting, so they stop taking it. I'm like, no, continue taking it, because that's what is happening is the mushrooms are healing. They're detoxifying. Yep. Just stick it out and take it for a little bit longer. It goes away. That's when you know it's working. Yeah, I know you get worse before you get better in a lot of cases.
Right, and sometimes that is where you really have to have faith and patience, and I sometimes appreciate when I get the detox or that type of situation, because then I know it's actually doing something. I always say, like, diverticulitis is a perfect example. That little tiny raspberry seeds irritates it. But is something wrong with the raspberry seed? No, of course not. It's this innocent little bystander that's touching on your inflammation issue. So same thing with this. This is trying to, help the gut and help restore it back to health. So it might upset a few cranky things inside there while it's working. So we got to be patient and have the faith. Wow, Jme, whew, you went through that fast.
I was talking so fast, and I mean, we could spend hours talking about each mushroom.
But
and
look at, you were right on point. So thank you for listening, everyone. Remember, this is Jme with WHOLESUN Wellness. You can go to her website, WHOLESUNWellness.com, and we really appreciate you spending time with us. Come to the store, check out all her products, 10% off every day, and we got some really cool lion's mane samples that she just gifted me with. Thanks, everyone, and next week, it's all about PEMF therapy. Take care.
You've been listening to Joanne's World of Nutrition, brought to you by Nutrition World in downtown Fort Pierce, US 1 and Orange Avenue across from City Hall, in the Crash Plaza, used to be known as the historic Arcade Building. This is WPSL, Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.